Welcome back! My name is Baller Scuba. This is Video Games Over Time! We are still in 1986, and we are still in Trinity. When we last left off, we made it to a sundial, and then when we turned it, it appeared to travel us some direction in time. So let's try to figure out what it is that we have done. Before we do that, though, a couple pronunciation updates. I looked it up because I was not happy that I didn't know how to pronounce things. Gnomon, Gnomon, apparently. That is the kind of triangular pointy thing at the top of a sundial. The thing that actually casts the shadow. It has a name. It's Gnomon. I didn't know that. And then the name that they've been using for trees is arborvitae, not arbor vitae, like I said, and the way that it looks to me. But it's arborvitae, apparently. So we're going to stick with that. So we're at the sundial, and we're in the flipped world. If you remember, like we saw the sign that was backwards. There's no reason for us to stay in the flipped world, so we're just going to go ahead and move back to the normal world, which involves basically backtracking, so let's do this kind of quickly. It's down, down, to the bottom of the stairs, then south, southwest, to the arborvitaes, as I'm told it's pronounced, then east, north, east to where the backward sign is, then north, up, south, down, through the Klein bottle. Then we're in the normal world, back with the right sign, with the directions, like the words Felix Klein in the proper order. That looks nice. So let's just head back to the bottom of the stairs, which is west, northeast, and north. And that'll lead us back to the bottom of the stairs. Okay. So let's go northwest from here to the North Bog. A thick, suffocating miasma lingers among the trees. The black earth is squishy with corruption. You can hear dripping liquids and other moist sounds close by. Paths wander off in many directions. High rock walls curve away to the north and southwest. A big Venus flytrap is growing nearby. Its crimson jaws are wide open, exposing a cavity that gleams with sweet-smelling ichor. That one I know. I know most of these words, but yeah, I might have to look things up. This is a very intellectual game, so I might have to look things up every once in a while to learn how to pronounce it. All right, let's take a look at the Venus flytrap a little bit closer. The flytrap's open jaws are fully 3 feet across. The inside is coated with a glistening ichor that resembles morning dew. Yeah, ichor is just kind of moisture. That's the way that I think of it. Once we have examined it, we can go east from here to the chasm's brink. The chasm at your feet is striped with colorful layers of rock. Narrow paths twist northeast and northwest, uneasily close to the edge. Other trails lead off into the forest. To the north, a rocky mesa towers like a golf tee from the depths of the chasm. Only 30 feet separate you from its flattened summit. An oak tree stands at the chasm's brink. Let's look at the tree first. The oak tree spreads like a green canopy overhead. Let's look at the chasm. The chasm is several hundred feet deep. Tree tops block your view of the bottom. We'll take a look at the mesa. That means table. The mesa's summit is ornamented with a giant toadstool. It's just a large flat top. All right, let's take a look at the toadstool, which is a type of mushroom. I'm sure if you're here, you probably knew that, though. You're probably familiar with video games. The toadstool must be at least 12 feet from base to crown. A closed white door is set into its fleshy stem. So we have a door. What we can do, remember we have an axe, we can chop the tree down. You chop at both sides of the oak's trunk until it teeters uncertainly, deciding which way it will fall. A soap bubble appears high overhead. It hovers for a moment before it bursts with a flabby pop. I don't like the sound of that. Let's push the tree north. We're going to try to push it north and make it fall that way. And we get 3 points for that. You push the teetering oak northward with all your strength. It arcs across the chasm with a leafy whoosh and crashes onto the mesa, barely missing the toadstool. Hooray, we made ourselves a bridge. Let's go... let's get rid of the axe for now. We'll go southwest to the bog, and then east to the bottom of the stairs. We'll drop the axe, take the umbrella, and then go back west to the south bog and west to the waterfall. A curtain of water tumbles off the western cliffs into a deep rocky pool. From there, a mountain stream wanders off into the forest. Footpaths follow the stream east past a giant toadstool. The white door in its stem is closed. A flight of stone steps has been hewn into the face of the north cliff. Let's see here. I might have... I think I did things right, but I don't know. I thought the door was supposed to be open. We might have to deal with that at some point. All right, let's examine the waterfall first. We'll just keep moving on. But yeah, I thought the door should have been open. The water falls in a white curtain from the overhanging cliffs. Let's go west. The waterfall blocks your path. We'll go into the waterfall then. One touch of the frigid water changes your mind. Can I search the waterfall then? Careful inspection reveals an opening in the cliff behind the waterfall. Can I go west now? There we go. You edge around the curtain of water. It's hard getting under a waterfall. You're in a vast underground cavern, an ice cavern to be specific, cold enough to see your breath. Icicles on the ceiling glitter in the light shining in through an opening in the east wall. Beyond it, a curtain of water fills the cavern with its splashy roar. Let's go ahead and examine those icicles. Icicles cover the ceiling of the cavern high out of reach. Let's go ahead and hit one with my umbrella. Why not use the umbrella on the waterfall? It's probably too strong. But we use the umbrella to hit an icicle. A quick swipe with the umbrella breaks off one of the icicles off the ceiling. Hooray, we'll take that. Get another point. 26 now. Okay. Let's, we want to take this to another part, but the icicle will melt unless we take it where it's cold. Where is it cold? We need to take it to the vertex. So east to the waterfall, east again to the south bog. Have I read this? I feel like I have. The ground is damp and squishy underfoot, especially along the stream that wanders west and southeast between the black trees. East again to the bottom of the stairs. The warm air makes the icicle glisten, so we need to refreeze it. So let's go up twice to the vertex. And then the icicle hardens in the thin, frosty air. That's what we want. Okay. Let's go down, down, back to the bottom of the stairs, northeast to the under cliff. Smooth walls of rock vault straight up and then lean inward, forming a natural roof that partially hides the sky. Trails lead out from under the cliff in many directions. A swarm of bees has staked out this formation for itself by building an enormous hive under the arch. The faint buzzing sound from the hive is magnified by the cliff's acoustics into a loud, frightening drone. The warm air makes the icicle glisten. Hopefully we dealt with that enough already, though. East. to the crater's edge. The forest around you is bent and splintered, as if a mighty fist has smashed through the branches. Sooty fumes hang in the air. The earth is dark with ashes and rubble. The eastern path ends at the lip of a deep crater 40 or 50 feet across. It's getting hard to hold the slippery icicle. Let's go east one more time into the crater. A dark cloud of smoke fills the air with an acrid, smoldering stench. Blackened rubble covers the sides and bottoms of the crater. A glowing lump of metal lies half buried at your feet. You can feel the umbrella pulling toward the lump of metal. The icicle is almost too slippery to hold. All right, so let's put the icicle on the lump of metal. The lump of metal would normally be too hot for us to touch. The icicle disappears in a hissing cloud as it touches the hot lump of metal. When the steam clears, the surface of the lump is black and wet. We got 3 more points. You can feel the umbrella pulling towards the lump of metal. We'll go ahead and take that lump. Get 1 more point, up to 30 now. We can take a closer look at it now. The lump of metal is roughly the size and shape of a large grapefruit. Its surface is black and scorched. You can still feel the umbrella pulling towards the lump of metal. All right, so let's get out of here. West twice will take us back to Undercliff. We'll just take a look at that hive for now. The gray mass of the beehive hangs down from the overhanging cliff. A dark opening in the bottom is low enough to reach. Yeah, let's not. Let's go southwest back to the bottom of the stairs. Okay. From here, we want to drop the lump and the umbrella. And then we will go west, back to the South Bog, west to the waterfall, and north to the cemetery. You carefully ascend the stone steps. Gloomy statues lie toppled among the tombstones, their broken limbs and heads scattered like the carnage of a ghastly battle. A granite crypt lies across the ground. Beyond it rises the mound of an ancient barrow. A black tunnel leads north into the barrow. Sudden drops fall away on every side but south, where a flight of stone steps descends the cliff. But we're in the cemetery. I should point out, don't try to open up the crypt with either the axe or the umbrella. You'll just break them doing that. We need to try to keep those for other things. Let's take a look at the crypt first. The granite crypt must be hundreds of years old. It's sealed shut with a heavy lid. A name is engraved across the bottom of the crypt. All right, let's read that. What do you got for me? The name on the crypt is Wabe Walker. We are at Wabe, so to speak. Let's go ahead and open it. Beads of sweat stand out on your forehead as you strain against the lid, but it'll take more leverage than you've got to budget. Let's examine the statues then. Statues lie motionless in the grass. We'll examine the barrow. Little can be seen from where you're standing. All right, we'll go north and go into the barrow. The splinter's ghostly flicker does little to dispel the gloom of this subterranean passage. Craggy walls bend away to the north and south. A small hole is visible in the wall. A clatter breaks the silence. You turn and watch helplessly as a spiked door crashes down across the south exit. Something just moved. You peer uneasily beyond the pool of light around the splinter. Nothing. Then, as your eyes adjust, you descry a vaguely human outline crouched against the tunnel wall. A voice in your ear mutters, "Barrow White." The Barrow White studies you with its red eye. Just the one. I'm gonna study it right back. Take that, you White. As one of the Barrow White's eyes dangles from its socket on a moist pink nerve. Lovely. The other glares back at you from the darkness of the tunnel. Let's take a look at the hole. The hole is quite small. The Barrow White licks a stream of drool off its chin. That's kind of impressive, actually. How do you lick something off your chin? How big is the tongue? All right, let's examine the door. Let's stop thinking about it. The door bristles with iron spikes. Lovely. Let's go north again. The barrow wight covers its eye with its claws and bellows something awful as you pass. He just let me pass, though. And we've made it to the ossuary. That's it's like a bone box, basically. Naked slopes veer upward on every side, forming a natural hollow that is filled to a depth of several inches with human bones. The only exit is a dark opening to the south. A giant toadstool is flourishing in the rich fertilizer. The white door in its stem is closed. Let's examine the bones to start this one. The bones are bleached white from years in the sun. In the sun? In here? They range from bits of rib and skull to complete skeletons. Just arranged properly? We'll search the bones. As you sift dispiritedly through the bones, a skeleton key, still clutched in a long dead hand, catches your eye. A skeleton with a skeleton key, you say? Let's take it. Get 1 point for that. You gently pry the skeleton key out from between the fingers. Let's examine the key. Its slender form reminds you of a crooked finger. And we can get out of here now. Back to the barrow. The barrow wight is eyeing you from the darkness close at hand. Let's go ahead and put the key in the hole. I believe once we do that, it stays there permanently. The skeleton key slides into the hole with a satisfying click. The barrow wight's breathing echoes in the tunnel. Let's go ahead and turn the key. That's apparently important. You slowly twist the key in the hole. The ground under your feet is moving. You leap out of the way and watch as a hidden slope opens up beneath the keyhole. We got 1 more point, up to 32. The barrow wight stomps its feet and howls with rage. He didn't want me to do that. Let's go down. You slide down into gloom that grows colder and colder, back to the ice cavern, it appears. You're in a vast underground cavern cold enough to see your breath. Icicles on the ceiling glitter in the light shining in through an opening in the east wall. Beyond it, a curtain of water fills the cavern with its splashing roar. With a rusty creak, the slope behind you retracts into the ceiling. A clatter and thump fill the cavern with a sinister echo. Then all is still. Let's go east and go out through the waterfall. We'll go east again to the south bog, north to the north bog. I think this is new. No, the Venus flytrap is here. So north one more time to the promontory. This crag of rock juts out over the surrounding chasm, ending at an abrupt drop several hundred feet deep. Rugged trails wind south and southeast. A rather large boy sits nearby, listening to a pair of headphones and idly blowing soap bubbles. There is a dish full of soapy water by his side. The boy dips the bubble wand in the dish and swishes it around. Why does it have to be a large boy? This is the same boy from, if you remember, Inverness Terrace back in Kensington Gardens, basically. All right, let's examine the boy. The boy measures approximately 40 feet from head to toe. That's a large boy. And probably weighs several tons. He wears a pair of stereo headphones. It's got to be important that they're in stereo. They're not mono. The boy pulls the bubble wand out of the dish, puts it to his lips, and blows a big soap bubble. Let's look at the bubble then. The soap bubble shimmers with iridescent color. The boy bobs his head to the headphone music as the soap bubble floats away. Let's look at that wand he's got. It's a flat plastic stick with hoops molded onto each end for blowing soap bubbles. The boy dips the bubble wand in the dish and swishes it around. Let's look at the dish. The dish is about the size of a small swimming pool and is filled to the brim with soapy water. The boy pulls the bubble wand out of the dish, puts it to his lips, and blows a big soap bubble. Let's take a look at those headphones he's got on there. What you playing? Except for their size, about 4 feet across, you see nothing interesting about the headphones. The boy kicks his feet to the headphone music as the soap bubble floats away. Fine, we'll talk to him. What you listening to? The boy hums softly to the headphone music, but pays no attention. You can't climb past him, but we'll go southeast and just kind of move on to the chasm's brink again. And then northeast from here will take us to the bluff. A spectacular crop of toadstools extends far and wide across the valley below. Narrow trails curve southeast and southwest away from the edge of the bluff. To the east stands a little cottage nestled in a shady copse. The front door is closed. Let's look at the cottage then. It looks as if the front door is closed. That's what we were told. Let's knock on the door. Is anybody home? Nope, no answer. Then we'll open it. You open the front door because nobody is home. And we'll go east into the cottage. An iron cauldron, we're not starting this well. An iron cauldron, brown with the crust of years, squats in the middle of this tidy chamber. Coils of steam writhe from its depths, filling the air with a greasy stench that makes your nose wrinkle. Luckily, the front door is wide open. Another door leading east is closed. A crudely drawn map hangs upon the wall. The biggest book you've ever seen lies open on a pedestal in the corner. There's a bird cage here. Inside the bird cage, you see a magpie. There's lots to look at here. We'll start with the map. The map shows a network of boxes connected by lines and arrows. I'm supposed to be drawing this as we go along, by the way. But once again, as I mentioned before, I didn't get into video games to draw maps. So it's a network of boxes connected by lines and arrows with many erasures and scrawled additions. Something about the pattern is maddeningly familiar. But you can't put your finger on where you've seen it before. The magpie blinks at you. Do they blink? I'm sure they do. Let's look at the cauldron. White coils of steam writhe mysteriously from the cauldron's depths. Let's look inside. The cauldron is filled to the brim with dark, boiling liquid. The magpie croaks, "Milk and honey." I'm going to regret this, aren't I? Let's smell it. The hot, greasy odor makes your head spin. Yeah. All right, let's look at the book. The open book is so wide it's impossible to touch both edges with your arms outstretched. Its thousands of vellum leaves form a 2-foot heap on either side of the spine. The rich binding probably required the cooperation of 20 calves. So, that's a glue thing. Yeah? Not the vellum. The vellum could be... Yeah, vellum. Yeah, that's leather, isn't it? The magpie makes a croaking sound. Either way, that's a nasty sounding book all of a sudden. Let's take a look at the cage. The closed bird cage is cunningly woven of brown and yellow wicker. Peering between the slats, you see a magpie. I think I need to wait for a while because the magpie just said milk and honey, and that is it. And I kind of need a whole recipe. So Z for wait. "Ach, milk and honey, fresh whole lizard, ach," squawks the magpie. All right, milk and honey, fresh whole lizard. Fresh whole lizard, right. Come on, magpie. Wiggle your head. "Killed in the light of a crescent moon." Okay. Crescent moon. "Mix them with a pinch of garlic." Okay. "Then stand back because it go boom." Okay, so I have heard the entire recipe now. That it'll just kind of loop that around. We're going to open the cage. You open the bird cage. The magpie flutters out of the cage and soars through the open door. Luckily, we don't need the magpie anymore. We got what we needed from the magpie, which was the recipe. So hooray, we did it. We will take the cage though, because I need that. And we're a third of the way there. There's a back door. Let's go ahead and open it and head east out into the herb garden. A tall fence protects the neat rows of herbs from predators. The only exit is the open back door of the cottage leading west. Another giant toadstool has taken root in a patch of thyme. The white door in its stem is closed. A pile of refuse lies in the corner. Those toadstools are probably going to be important. All right, let's take a look at the herbs to start. The herbs are lovingly planted in neat parallel rows. We'll take a look at the fence. It's at least 10 feet high. Take a look at the time. The patch of time must have looked nice before the toadstool ruined it. I'm going to go ahead and take the time. Better not, there isn't much time left. Is that a pun? I think it is. It was about time that they made a time pun. Let's take a look at the refuse. It's just a dry heap of discarded stalks and dirt. We'll search it, though. We'll search through your compost heap. You find nothing in the pile except a rotten clove of garlic. Well, I do need the garlic, don't I? You take the clove of garlic off the pile of refuse. We get 1 more point. And we'll take a closer look at the garlic. The clove of garlic is at least a year old. Perfect! It's ripe! As far as I know, garlic lasts like 2 weeks. At least once I buy it. Examine the toadstool. The toadstool must be at least 12 feet from base to crown. A closed white door is set into its fleshy stem. Examine the white door. The closed white door is of stately residential design. All right, let's get out of here. We'll go back west into the cottage, west into the bluff, southeast into the crater's edge, and west into the undercliff. Okay, we made it back to where the bees are. Let's go ahead and save just to be safe here. Let's go ahead and put my hand in the hive. You reach recklessly into the hive. I said be careful. And feel something sticky at your fingertips. Then a sharp burning pain sears your hand like fire. Howling with agony, you yank your arm out of the hive and shake a gigantic bee off your swelling hand. The giant bee spit polishes its stinger. Wait, spit polishes with honey by chance? I do need honey. But for now, we got to get out of here because the bee's trying to kill me. So let's go west to the chasm's brink. If you hear a familiar buzz nearby, yeah, it's chasing me. West again into the north bog. There's a lot going on here. So let's see. After the Venus flytrap buzzing angrily, the giant bee hovers close by. The sweet smell of the flytrap stops the bee in mid-buzz. Forgetting its anger, the insect hovers above the open jaws, then touches down to sample the glistening ichor. Click! The flytrap snaps shut. After a few minutes, the faint buzzing dies away. We just waited and watched, apparently. Let's go ahead and examine the flytrap. The flytrap's tightly closed jaws are fully 3 feet across. Thank you, Audrey, too. Back to the chasm's brink. We'll go east to the chasm's brink, and then east again to the undercliff. What does it say this time? A swarm of bees has staked out this formation for itself by building an enormous hive under the arch. The faint buzzing sound from the hive is magnified by the cliff's acoustics into a loud, frightening drone. Let's try again. Put hand in hive. You reach recklessly into the hive and feel something sticky at your fingertips. Without hesitation, you yank your arm out of the hive and find your hand gleaming with a golden handful of honey. We got 3 points for that. Let's take that east to the crater's edge, northwest to the bluff, and east back into the cottage. We'll put the honey in the cauldron. The honey sticks stubbornly to your hand. Yeah, it'll do that. So then we'll put our hand in the cauldron. You plunge your hand into the boiling liquid. Ouch! At least you got that honey off your fingers. Don't put your hand into anything boiling. Like, what are you doing? All right, 1 more point for that. Hooray. Let's... Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like which one do I want to do first, because at this point we need to start thinking about the toadstools. Let's go west first, to the bluff, then southeast to the crater's edge, southwest to the bend, which I think is new. An exhausting stream trickles into a river that bends to the south and east. The opposite shore is veiled behind a thick mist. Paths meander off in many directions from the river's edge. Not the wizard's edge, the river's edge. We'll go west from here to the bottom of the stairs. We will drop the garlic, birdcage, splinter, and splinter. Can you handle that? You can. Sweet. We'll take the umbrella, and then we will go up and up, back up to the vertex. Okay. Now we want to turn the ring, and we're going to put it to the 6th symbol. Turn ring to 6th symbol. That's what we want. The sun sweeps across the sky as you rotate the brass ring. It clicks into place at this dial's 6th symbol. Now let's go down, halfway down again to the bottom of the stairs. Is this new? The splinter is providing light, but no, we're good for now. Then we can go east from here to the bend, east again to the moor. Tall, solemn cattails line the banks of a great river that flows eastward across the silent moor. A dense fog on the water obscures your view of the opposite shore. A pair of giant toadstools is growing among the cattails. The larger one has an open white door set into the stem. The triangular shadow lies across the ground. Its sharp point rests exactly on the open door in the toadstool. Let's go ahead and save before I do anything further and enter the door. You pass the threshold of the white door. That sounds scary. And step into empty air. Thin air. You're 1,400 feet above a small city, falling straight down at a velocity of 70 miles an hour. A white door is dwindling away in the sky overhead. This might have been a bad thing. All right. So, what we can do is we can Mary Poppins it. And we'll open up our umbrella. The umbrella snaps open and nearly flies to pieces in the fury of your descent, but a sympathetic breeze fills the cloth panels with air and your death plunge slows to a leisurely drift. The city below draws closer. You glimpse a river, railroad tracks, streets busy with horses and bicycles, a playground crunch. We've made it to the playground in a sand pile. A set of children's swings move slowly back and forth in the humid breeze. Behind them stands a long building, its windows hung with flowers and birds folded from colored paper. Mounds of dirt are heaped around a dark opening to the east. It appears to be a shelter of some kind. Several small children are happily chasing dragonflies north of the swing set. Turning south, you see a group of adults, school teachers by the looks of them, warily digging another shelter like the first. Somewhat shaken, you rise to your feet in the children's sand pile. In the pile, you see an umbrella. All right, we will take all, which is just the umbrella. We'll examine the teachers. We kind of need to be careful. We don't want to get found out around here, but we'll do what we can. We'll examine the teachers. The teachers are intent upon their work. We'll examine the children. I don't think I can call them students. Oh, we get a quote from Nathaniel Hawthorne. We're just doing lots of literary quotes, aren't we? The love of posterity is a consequence of the necessity of death. If a man were sure of living forever, he would not care about his offspring. Which book is that from? Is that from the Scarlet Letter? Hawthorne, huh? All right, the children tumble over one another as they leap to catch the elusive dragonflies. I almost want to look that up. What book is that from? The love of posterity is a consequence of the necessity of death. I said I might be looking things up. What is that? I don't want an explanation. Where is it from? It's a quote. Nope, that's somebody quoting Nathaniel Hawthorne saying it. It doesn't say. book is it from? Maybe it's got to be from one of his books. Can I just put book at the end, or you're not gonna tell me? I went through all of this, and you're not gonna tell me anyway? Okay. So it's one that I haven't read. It's apparently American Notebooks. He wrote it in 1840, but he also wrote The Scarlet Letter, I believe. Unless I'm getting that mixed up, but I'm pretty sure that was him. All right, let's go east of here to the shelter. Climbing out of the sand pile first, you descend into the darkness, into the shelter. You wouldn't want to spend much time in this wretched hole. The bare floor is damp and filthy, and the corners reek of urine. Luckily, there's an opening to the west. A spade is leaning against the wall. Let's examine the spade. Looks sturdy enough. All right, let's take it. One more point for us. Let's go west out of here, back into the playground. I don't believe anything here is new, so we're going to wait. Time passes. Oh, it happened real quick here. A little girl races between the swings, hot on the trail of a dragonfly. She trips and sprawls across the sand, laughing with hysterical glee. Then she sees you. At first, you're sure she's going to scream. Her eyes dart back and forth between you and the teachers. You can see a cry forming on her lips. It's never a good sign when you see a little kid and their first reaction is to scream. Suddenly, the umbrella in your hand catches her eye. You watch her expression soften from fear to curiosity. We can give the umbrella to the girl. The girl's mouth opens into a little O at the magnificence of your gift. She humbly accepts the umbrella, smiles shyly, and descends into the shelter with her prize. Remember that... this is a time travel thing, isn't it? Remember that the umbrella, we got it from an Asian woman. And now we're giving it to a little girl. They haven't really implied anything else. Anyway, all right, let's go east from here. Back into the shelter. The little girl is in the corner clutching an umbrella. The girl gazes lovingly at the umbrella. Hooray. We can give the paper to the girl. The paper that we have with us. The girl's eyes brighten with surprise when she sees the piece of paper. Origami, she squeaks. Accepting the piece of paper with a gracious bow, her fingers explore the creases in the paper, bending them this way and that. Then with a few deft maneuvers, she refolds the sheet to its original shape and hands it back to you. We got 3 more points. The edges of the paper bird begin to flicker faintly. The girl twirls the umbrella and giggles. So, I can just kind of go ahead and say it like, this is Japan. Not that any little girl that knows origami is in Japan, but yeah, we're in Japan. That's what happened. All right, we'll go west out of here. Back to the playground. Something twitches in your hand. The paper bird is growing. The wings and tail are unfolding like the petals of a flower, the long neck craning further and further out of the expanding body. You drop the demonic thing with a yelp of dismay. In moments, it opens up into a monstrous construction of folded paper the size of a foreign car. Yeah, in the 80s, foreign cars were seen as smaller than American cars, weren't they? Sure. You know what we're going to do, though? We're going to get on. Ride the bird. Gulping with fear, you climb into the crackling folds of the giant bird's back. With a powerful beat of its wings, the strange creature lifts away from the ground. Blowing sand obscures the view, but you can hear voices crying out in wonder. When the air clears, the playground is far below. And now we're in the thin air on the giant bird. You're soaring high over the city on a paper bird. The giant bird soars over the city, banking left and right with effortless grace. You hear the rhythmic pump of its great wings, wind whipping past your ears, and far overhead the drone of approaching aircraft. A speck in the sky grows into the familiar outline of the white door. The bird circles once, slows to a stall, and hovers only a few feet from the threshold. Well, we did it. Let's go ahead and enter the door. You climb off the giant bird and leap through the white door back to the moor. Oh. A triangular shadow lies across the ground. Its sharp point rests exactly on the toadstool. We have seen that before, but the white door fades away into the texture of the toadstool. The door is gone. So we'll have to figure out what that actually means for us next time. That is going to do it for this part of Trinity. I've been Baller Scuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. I hope you laughed. I hope you learned. And I hope to see you next time for more Trinity, the intellectual, weird text adventure game. Thanks for watching.